I'm Amity Pierce Buxton, born in Massachusetts, granddaughter of all the people that fought for the Revolutionary War in the Lexington for the beginning of our revolution from England. And I worked my way across the country, working in Detroit and then here. And now I'm in Oakland in a nice diverse community. This is my father, Alfred Pierce Jr., named after his father, my grandfather, Alfred Pierce, dressed up in a Minuteman uniform, modeled after the Minutemen that were waiting for Paul Revere, were alerted by Paul Revere that the British were coming, and he revived that whole Minuteman thing, and they march every April 19th parade in Lexington, Massachusetts. And when I was about 10, we moved to Bronxville, New York, which had an exemplary K through 12 school, which had everything. So that when I was going through at junior high and high school, I was able to sing in the glee club, to play in the band and orchestra, to be in plays, to do art, to play soccer and lacrosse and baseball, everything, which was quite wonderful. Then I went to Connecticut College for 2 years, and that was right there on the bay, above from the Coast Guard station. Then Marymount College, because at that time I was Catholic and my roommate at Connecticut and I just argued all the time about religion, and I thought, well, I better find out. So I went to Marymount College, which, interesting enough, was run by a very secular bunch of nuns who made sure that their girls were ready for the society that they were born into. Outside, all kinds of speakers, and it really was quite remarkable what I learned there. And it was there that I decided I'd really like to be a writer, but I wasn't going to earn enough money, so I better become a teacher. Well, arriving to Detroit on Labor Day of 1954, there were speeches going on by union leaders. I'd never heard of a union leader. What's that? And I listened and my jaw dropped and I thought, my gosh, there's a whole segment of my community that I don't know about. So that broke open all sorts of things to me before I started teaching in Grosse Pointe. But in any case, I went to Teachers College, Columbia University, and their program introduced me to a whole different way of looking at things, interdisciplinary and active involvement and communication and that sort of thing. So that really inspired me to look at the whole idea of teaching and children and how everybody learns, not just from a lesson or from a multiple choice question on a questionnaire, but to think and be involved and so forth. My high school classroom was filled with, half of it were children of workers and half of it were children of owners. And so all my interdisciplinary things and all my way of teaching was just perfect because it fit everybody. For instance, when we studied Shakespeare, I had people doing costumes, doing music, doing the speaking, doing the history and so forth. Everyone had a role. I have 2 children and I have a wonderful partner now and I'm very happy, and I guess I just am so happy I have my good health and still dabble at the piano and still sketch and still go to the theater, but still working very hard for what I started working on, and feeling very sad that our public education system is going down the drain and that racial and sexual diversity is not gaining much ground. If I had to choose a word to summarize my life's work, I'm not sure what it would be, but the heart of it would be striving, hopeful striving. It would have to be a phrase, hopeful striving, that by continuing to work on what I think is best for the world and our young people and our society, that I have to keep working at it. When I was 5 years old, I was lying in bed thinking of the time that I almost died when I was 2, and I said to myself, I remember it very clearly, lying in bed looking up the rafters in my little room in Massachusetts, I said, God must have saved me for some reason. I have to have a mission. So I've always been looking for my mission and doing what he saved me for. I'd be leaving my legacy, whatever it is, to my 2 children, my son, who's in his late 50s and just had a little girl for the first time, born 2 months before my birthday, and to my daughter, who's in her mid-50s, and she's a public school teacher, devoted, wonderful teacher, to them. But also I've got about 10 international organizations having to do with poverty and peace and that sort of thing that I'll be leaving my money to. The lessons I'd pass on to future generations is listen to the other person. There's a wonderful book called The 4 Agreements, the Toltec Native American philosophy. And 2 of the 4 agreements are don't make assumptions and don't take things personally. So everybody, just listen, even if they turn you off on how they look or how they speak or how they dress, just listen and work. We're here together, and if we don't work together, our country is going to pot. But I think probably what keeps me going more is all the young people, old people, people of all colors and stripes and beliefs that have been working with me over the years to achieve what I have in public education and the equality, LGBTQ equality, and their straight spouses who are often forgotten in the excitement of the coming out. I would like to be thought of as not just a pioneer, but a creator of long-lasting public school operations and curriculum and beliefs and society beliefs that end up increasing equality and the ability for every child and adult in the U.S. or the world for that matter, but the U.S. particularly, to have a goal and to achieve it by their own hard work and teamwork. I have a painting on the wall, and it was just wrapped up in a roll, and as I said, my partner's been inspiring, and he took one look at it and said, "Good heavens, that's wonderful, do something." So we restored it. It's a painting done, I guess from memory. It's called Harlem from the Train. When I was in high school outside of New York City, a friend and I and our mothers would go to the theater and take the train in, and we'd see Harlem. So we have these buildings and the sky and the smokestacks, and then this parade of people all dressed up in the Sunday finery and an old-fashioned car. So it was interesting for me to find it because it shows how I was already tuned into this business of diversity before I knew it. There's this statue I did as a symbol of our family, father, mother, and the 2 children. And I did it on purpose. I just felt it was important to capture the notion of family, huddled together, not huddled together, arm in arm together, focused and loving. So I've always turned to the piano and music for when I get stressed out. Playing Bach can calm me down. And I often, when I'm sitting waiting, will start sketching. So there's something creative, and I think it has to do with the other side of working to get things done. And this way I can control it myself. I just want anyone who listens to this to be thinking of how they fit into their world and what are they doing to make it better, rather than criticizing all the time and blaming the other person. What can I do to make my community, my family, my neighborhood a better place for everybody? I can't understand it.